Welcome everybody to Canadian Yorker here, and we are live talking about the NBA playoffs, and this is a final Western Eastern Conference Finals recap because officially the NBA finals have officially started, and we finally have our teams that are in the NBA finals vying for the NBA championship. So in other words, let's get this article started. One more thing I want to mention is that um, this in this final game of the Eastern Conference Finals, this is also the final game for the Inside the NBA on TNT, which has been on NBA on television for quite a while. 30 years, 40 years on NBAT covering the NBA. Actually, 25 years. It's been on for a while. So we're gonna get into that in another article. So going to this first article here. This is from NBA.com. I did include the links to these articles in the comment in the description box for everybody to check out. So please do check it out. So Knicks Pacers 5 takeaways as Indiana eliminates the New York Knicks and goes on to the NBA Finals, to the 2025 NBA Finals for the second time in NBA history. So this could have gone either way. I mean, it's been 25 years since the New York Knicks have been in the NBA Finals. It's been 25 years since the Indiana Pacers have been in the NBA Finals. The Indiana Pacers have not won the NBA Finals ever in their franchise history. They did win 3 titles when they were in the ABA, the American Basketball Association. So that was back in 1970, 1972, and 1973. And the New York Knicks have won 2 titles in the NBA. That's in 1970 and in 1972. But the Knicks have not been in the NBA Finals for 25 years. So if either one of these two franchises had won it and made it to NBA Finals, would still be a major marker, a major marker for both these franchises. I think for the Pacers, it's a big thing for the Pacers as well as the Knicks. Um, but anyway, let's get into this article here. So this article was written June 1st, 2025. So it says here, Indiana coach Rick Carlisle had started counting off his team's Eastern Conference Championship Series from the get-go, not by victories but by duration. So Indiana Rick Carlisle said, "This is just day one of 13 days." Rick Carlisle said after the Pacers pulled off an improbable, exhilarating overtime victory over the Knicks in the opener in New York. When the Pacers won again 48 hours later, sure enough, it was simply day 3 in Rick Carlisle's world. It seemed as if he was trying to provide a framework for his players, maybe even for the media and for the Indiana fans, not to get ahead of themselves. Beware of the irrational exuberance that can bite hard when things go awry. In other words, within a difficult NBA playoff series. And it did appear to lay a calming blanket over the Pacers when they stunned even themselves in games 1, dropped game 3 at home, then fumbled a closeout shot in game 5 Thursday in their worst performance in the series. In the end, Rick Carlisle was not wrong. The thing didn't last 13 days. The Pacers needed only 11 from the opening tip-off to enter the celebration late Saturday night on the court at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. They sealed the Eastern Conference title on its franchise's second trip ever to the NBA Finals. The first was in 2000 with an impressive 125-108 elimination of the Knicks. The series lasted long enough for Indiana to show itself in full in Game 6, but not so long that it had to face the stresses of heading back to Madison Square Garden for a winner-take-all finish. There should be plenty of that waiting for the Pacers anyway at Oklahoma City's Paycom Center when the 2025 finals begin Thursday at 8:30 on ABC. First, here are 5 takeaways from the victory that earned them the trip. Every Pacers ingredient on display. It would be hard to conjure an Indiana outcome more on brand than what it served on Saturday. 7 guys put up double figures. The same 7 hit at least a pair of 3-pointers. The Pacers' shooting, despite New York's dialed up and rugged defensive pressure, was exemplary. 54% overall, 46 for 85. 46 for 45, 51.5% on threes, 17 for 33, and 84%, 16 for 19 from the line. They played fast, running to a 23 to 6 edge in a fast break points through 3 quarters, by which they led 92 to 77. And that pace, along with their pesky enough defense, sprung loose 18 Knicks turnovers, good for 34 of the home team's points. Center Miles Turner had a modest stats line, foul trouble limiting him to 21 minutes and 11 points. But he has perspective on this team that no one else matches. His seniority, back to his arrival in 2015 at 19 years old, the number 11 pick from Texas. Miles Turner rode the Pacers elevator from playoff contender to 3 straight lottery finishes, and now back up again. He was the subject of endless trade rumors for his first 6 or 7 seasons until Indiana brought in Tyrese Halliburton in exchange for Turner's former front court mate Domantas Sabonis. Miles Turner said when the buzzer was sounding, it was nothing but joy. All the years, all the hate, all the love, and all the in-between just made sense in that moment. Miles Turner and his teammates are proud of Indiana's egalitarian roster. The praise, the credit, and the blame spread around us like the responsibility. He called the Pacers foundation the power of friendship in his post-game remarks. It's not the flashiest, sexiest team, but it gets the results. That's what he said, open quote, close quote. Number 2, Pascal Siakam secures the Larry Bird Trophy. The vote was close, 5-4 from the media panel that determined the most valuable player of the Eastern Conference Championship Series. Pacers forward Pascal Siakam edged out teammate Tyrese Halliburton to take the Larry Bird Trophy after scoring 31 points with 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 3 block shots in the finale. Tyrese Halliburton's scrim finished with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 13 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. The lanky, frenetic point guard remains the head of Indiana's proverbial snake, and a reliable win-or-lose barometer for how the team does, following his lead up or down. But this was a case of Pascal Siakam providing offense when the Pacers needed it most. In a slow Pacers start, it was Pascal Siakam's three-pointer that slowed New York's early roll, and a breakout layup that put them up 12-11. He hit another 3 to start the second quarter. By halftime, Pascal Siakam had a game-high 16 points that were essential in his team's 54 lead. And Indiana outscored the Knicks 34 to 23 in the game-cracking third quarter. Pascal Siakam had 10 more points. Halliburton was just 1 for 3 in that period, though it wasn't as if the pair were competing with each other. Pascal Siakam led the Pacers in the series 24.8 points per game, and his shooting 52.4% overall, 50% from the arc, was a reflection of their offensive strength. He was able to pester the Knicks' big man Karl-Anthony Towns more than Turner, with better mobility and a mighty wingspan. Continuing, Tom Thibodeau, Knicks coach, said the versatility to Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam's versatility, his ability to run the floor, and his ability to play in the paint, and his ability to get to the basket makes him tough to cover. Close quote. Pascal Siakam, who's 31, was the NBA's most improved player in 2018-2019, when his team at the time, the Toronto Raptors, won the NBA championship in his 3rd season. It has taken him 6 years to return to the finals, a trip he has said he took for granted. All the Pacers know that since they acquired him 16 months ago for 3 players and 3 first-round draft picks, they have gone to the conference finals twice and now are 4 victories away from taking home the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Tyrese Halliburton said, quote, open quote, close quote, said when we brought him here, we envisioned something like this. Number 3, this ending sucks, but the next one did not. New York point guard Jalen Brunson has been in that city long enough to know that the tabloid newspapers work, so he gave them an easy back page fodder with his first post-game comments Saturday. Jalen Brunson said, quote, it sucks. Brunson said, offering a bag of stuff, big stuff, rude headlines, simply as that it sucks. Of course it did. New York ground out 18 games of postseason drama, only to spit out the bit in the second half Saturday when they got outscored 67-54. The Knicks never led after halftime, never really got close after Indiana reeled off the first 9 points of the third quarter. Frankly, it was a near miracle that they got up 1 point shot more than the Pacers, considering the 18 turnovers. If you're going to get outscored by 24 points on three-pointers, you better have not give up 34 easy points by throwing the ball away or snuffing possessions with offensive fouls. Tom Thibodeau said, open quotes, close quote, some of it was our own doing, some of it was the ball pressure. Jalen Brunson who had 5 turnovers with 7 assists, I try to control the things that I can control, and that's one of them. That's terrible on my part. Zooming out of 1,000 to 3,000 feet, the Knicks season looks better than the final 24 minutes. They pushed through an injury-riddled season to win 51 games, the most in a dozen years. They had a major piece dropped in their laps. That's Karl Anthony Towns on the eve of training camp, and patched around the departures of Isaiah Hutchinson, Julius Randle, and Dante DiVincenzo. New York handled a scrappy Detroit team in the first round, then bumped off the defending champions from the Boston in 6 games with a pair of 20-point comebacks. They got around further than when they lost in the East semis to Indiana a year ago. Jalen Brunson said there were a lot of people saying we couldn't do a lot of things, a lot of negativity about what we were trying to accomplish, just kind of put blinders on and went to work. Any speculation that Tom Thibodeau's job status and inevitability for a New York fan base will be premature at best. Folks fretted about the heavy minutes he loaded on Knicks rosters and never explored why they were as healthy as any team 8 months in. Tom Thibodeau has steered the Knicks to the postseason 4 times in 5 seasons, compared to 3 times in 16 seasons by 9 guys who preceded him in the job. Number 4, Rick Carlisle's golden touch once more. Back of center, Thomas Bryant had played in just 3 of the series' first 5 games for a total of 22 minutes. So he goes out in Game 6 and gives the Pacers 11 points in 13 minutes, hitting 3 of his 4 3-pointers, grabbing 6 rebounds, and blocking a shot. It went that way with Bryant in the previous round 2. In the first 4 games against Cleveland, he totaled 9 points in 42 minutes. In the decisive Game 5, Thomas Bryant responded to Rick Carlisle's tap on the shoulder with 9 points in 11 minutes to help defeat the Cavaliers on their own home floor. It's the chicken and egg stuff at this point. Does Bryant play well in clinches, or do games become clinches because Bryant plays well? Let's not forget the much-traveled 27-year-old 5 teams was on the 2023 Nuggets championship squad. Pascal Siakam said, I told him the basketball gods rewarded him. Finally, number 5, talking about the finals. So it is being said that that this is a low wattage final. It's more like high concept. Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner both took knees to the groin. Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner both took knees to the groin from attacking Knicks players in Game 6, and both got called for fouls on the 2 plays. But in the grand scheme, that might serve as solid prep work for the force the Pacers can expect when they face the Thunder in the 2025 NBA Finals. Oklahoma City plays the league's most physical and smothering defense. That sort of refs can't call every foul style that can stymie opponents competitively and mentally. Indiana just demonstrated how potent it can be when it plays fast, attacks both inside and out, and pushes its points total north of 110 points, and they're 11-0 in the playoffs so far when doing that, 52 of 23 in the regular season. So it's offenses versus defense in the finals that will lack a major TV market for the people focused on ratings, but it shouldn't lack much for basketball fans who can watch without worrying if the folks across the hall or down the street are doing the same. If the neighbors miss out, they miss out. So there you have it, guys, for the article here talking about the NBA Finals. And according to the article, the reporter here is saying that this Finals is not going to be good for watching because it's not in a big major market team. And to be honest with you, who really cares? Because I mean, the Indiana Pacers are a small market team, yes, but they did defeat the Knicks. They earned their spot to get the NBA championship. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a small market team, yes, but they've had one of the most remarkable NBA seasons. If anyone has really paid attention to the NBA season during the regular season, this is why the regular season matters, because the Oklahoma City Thunder have been one of the best teams in the NBA this season, thus far. The Oklahoma City Thunder they have the third best record in the NBA, just like I believe the Cavaliers have the best record as well. But even though the Cavs are not, we were expecting to see the Cavs and the Thunder in the series, but unfortunately the Cavaliers, they just couldn't make it. They couldn't break that mold and get to the NBA Finals. So we have the Thunder that are actually one of the best teams in the NBA right now. They're going to be facing. They have the best defense, the best offense. They're really well balanced. The Pacers also, they said they have a really fast-paced offense. They have a really good defense, but it's a really good offense. It just makes for a good matchup. I mean, what else can you expect? I don't think that for some reason, it just seems like reporters, sports reporters and sports, they care more about ratings, not more about the sport, because they didn't really do much coverage of both of these teams, both of these franchises, except for unless you're from the area, you get the coverage on that. But the major markets don't really cover the smaller teams. New York is a big media market, yes, but I think in all honesty, it hasn't been fair in regards to the coverages from the smaller market teams. That's just my point of view, but you guys might disagree with me on that. But that's just my point of view. That's what I'm seeing, and that's just the world we live in nowadays. That's just the way it is. So it just seems like the NBA wants to cater to more casual fans. We might not be seeing some of the more bigger superstars like LeBron James or Steph Curry. Some of these guys are not in the NBA. The reason why they're not there because they didn't make it. They couldn't get over the hump. LeBron James, obviously, he's 40 years old. He can't really perform the same way that he does in the past. Stephen Curry got injured this series in the NBA playoffs. It happens. Injuries happen. What else can he do? And plus, Stephen Curry is getting older as well. So, what else can he do? He could not get the Warriors over the hump. He got injured. These things happen. What else can he do? Let's get on to the next thing that I have here. It's talking about the NBA on TNT. Unfortunately, this is also the last broadcast of the NBA on TNT, Inside the NBA on TNT, covering the NBA playoffs. And it's the last time we're going to be seeing Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley on TNT, because they're actually moving over from TNT. They're going to be on ESPN next season. So this is going to be the last time we're seeing them on TNT. And if you guys don't know, TNT and the NBA no longer have a working contract because TNT I guess the NBA had a contract working with the NBA or TNT. It was like, I forget the exact number, 40 million something, maybe even more. That's a lot of money involved. But the NBA decided not to renew its contract with TNT and decided to go with ESPN and ABC, NBC. So basically, they decided to go back to NBC and not be with NBA and TNT anymore. So now we're seeing all these guys moving from one network to another network. Um, so let's get into this article. It was also written on June 1st, 2025. Says here, Ernie Johnson could barely get the words out. The run of Inside the NBA on TNT came to an end on Saturday night after nearly 4 decades as a fixture of the league. Like I said, it was 40 years. Um, the show will move to ESPN and ABC next season and keep Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley together, and also the crew together, and still doing most shows from Atlanta, Georgia. But the final TNT sign-off was an emotional one. Ernie Johnson said, "I'm proud to say for the last time, thanks for watching us. It's the NBA on TNT," before turning his back to the camera, placing his microphone on the desk, and getting up from that set for the final time. NBA games will not be airing on TNT starting next season when the league's new television package kicks in, an 11-year-old media rights deal with at least $76 billion. Ooh. That is one for the money, one that keeps games on ABC and ESPN, brings in the league back to NBC, and starts a new relationship with Amazon and Amazon Prime Video. ABC will broadcast the NBA Finals, meaning the end of the Eastern Conference Finals between Indiana and New York was the end of TNT's run. Turner Sports first acquired an NBA package in 1984, and games were on TNT since the network launched in 1988. Even before the name changes, the engine's still the same, Shaquille O'Neal said during the final broadcast. And to that new network we're coming to, we're not coming to mess around. We're taking over, okay? I love you guys and appreciate you, open quote, close quote. The moment was not lost on Indiana coach Rick Carlisle. His team had just clinched a spot in the NBA Finals by beating New York. And when his team's brief interview with Ernie Johnson during the trophy ceremony was over, Rick Carlisle grabbed the microphone out of his host's hands. Rick Carlisle said, "Congratulations to TNT on a fabulous, unbelievable run that's coming to an end. We're all very sad about that." Rick Carlisle said in an unprompted tribute, "The names of countless past and current broadcasters and analysts were included in the many tributes offered on air after the game, including Doug Collins, Hubie Brown, Dick Stockton, Sir Miller, Danny Ainge, John Thompson, Steve Kerr, Mike Fratello, Marv Albert, Brian Anderson, Chris Webber, Candace Parker, and Craig Sager. Our hearts are full of gratitude," TNT's Kevin Harlan said on air, speaking to the viewers. "Not sadness, but gratitude and happiness for what has been said. What has been, it has been an honor, it has been a privilege, and I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as we have." Steve Harlan had the play-by-play call for the final game with Reggie Miller, Stan Van Gundy, Ali Force, and on the broadcast as well. Reggie Miller said, I think about my life. I'm very fortunate," Reggie Miller said. "I've only known two things: 18 years with one franchise in this building at the Indiana Pacers, and 19 with Turner. Many members of the TNT production crew have gotten jobs with NBC and Amazon," Johnson said, "because of their exemplary work to this point. Best production crew in the business, I might add," Ernie Johnson said. And when it turned back to Inside the NBA crew for one last time on TNT, the emotions were clear. Kenny the Jet Smith said, this has been a magnificent ride, open quote, close quote. Charles Barkley talked about how he was going to sign with NBC when starting his broadcast career, then switched to TNT. Charles Barkley said, open quote, said, "I just want to say thank you to the NBA, every coach I've had, every player I've played with, for giving me this magnificent life I've had. I am so lucky and blessed. I'm lucky and blessed, and I want to thank TNT, even though we'll never say TNT Sports again. I want to thank TNT for giving me a magnificent life." Close quote. So there we have it, guys. sad situation. Um, it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet thing. To see NBA on TNT is no more. The NBA will basketball will no longer be shown on TNT. All good things must come to an end. Obviously, we're going to see the NBA on NBC and ABC, also on Amazon Prime, and I think since it's already affiliated with NBC, it'll probably be showing up on Peacock as well. I happen to have Peacock, so probably might be seeing NBA on Peacock maybe in the future sometime. But it's sad to see the NBA on TNT. It's been long-standing basketball basketball happening, since 1980s, 1984. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the business. Things change, and people have to adapt to changes that happen. So I want to give you guys this broadcast. I'm going to end it for today. I definitely will make sure I bring you the next broadcast about the NBA Finals. We'll go back and forth about who's going to win. May the best team win the NBA Finals. Of course, I'm not rooting for either team. I'm not a fan of the Knicks. Neither am I of the Pacers or the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm a big Toronto Raptors fan, so obviously, I'm hoping my Raptors will be better next year. As I said, I'm hoping to do a broadcast, a live stream about the Raptors season, kind of break that down, talk about how do we do this season, and where we're going to go in the future. Who did we draft in this year? So maybe we'll have to check. I'll do a broadcast on the Raptors. We'll see how that goes. But for this time right now, we're talking about the NBA playoffs, the finals. There's a lot of I could say there's a lot at stake here. You have a pretty historic team with the OKC Thunder that the OKC Thunder could make history. They have one of the best records in the NBA. I think in one of the other articles I mentioned that the OKC Thunder also have the they have the best they have the best defense, but also they have the best scoring ability of a team in the NBA, one of the highest scoring abilities ever, better than the '96 Bulls and the '86 Celtics. They have a really high score rate. I can't exactly remember it properly. I might be wrong, but you guys can research it for yourselves. But I do remember reading that in an article, and did mention that. And the Pacers, if they win the championship, they have not won an NBA championship ever. This will be their first NBA championship win for their franchise. It'll be a monumental achievement for them, but also, they have won ABA championships in the 1970s. 3 championships, but they never won an NBA title. So if they win an NBA title, it's going to be a big win for them. Big win for the franchise. This will be great for the Pacers. So there's a lot that remains to be said, guys. Also, if you will check it out, if you're into wrestling, I did include a link in the description box for WWE Wrestling Bros, and I am covering Friday Night SmackDown. I just did a brief broadcast on Friday Night SmackDown. So if you're interested in that, if you want to check that out, don't be afraid to check it out and click on that link to watch that broadcast. So I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. Enjoy the rest of the day and wonderful weekend. Enjoy the great weather we have. So I'll see you guys in the next one.